Hi, I'm Robert. I come to you as an automobile enthusiast that has maintained, serviced, and repaired my own vehicles in excess of 30 years. I currently drive a car with over 230,000 miles on it, and I once had a car that had over 400,000 miles on it and ran very well. While you're watching the video, please watch a step or two ahead. Sometimes the current step is better explained in the next step or two. Also, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you benefit from the information. This video I'm going to talk to you about how to take care of a car that has a turbocharged motor. More and more cars are coming up with a turbocharger in them because a turbocharged motor can give you more power, better performance with a smaller engine. A smaller engine can usually get better fuel economy, so a turbocharged car can turn you out better power, better performance, better fuel economy just because it's turbocharged. So you don't need to be worried about that. Let me tell you how to take care of them. Now, turbochargers come in different sizes and different configurations. I'm not really going to get into that, but this is a 1995 Volvo 850. It's a gas-powered motor, and it has a turbocharger on it. Here is a tube that goes from the turbocharged cooler down to the intake, past the throttle body, back up over the engine, and it connects to the turbocharger back there. Okay, this is an older one. It's a little rusty, whatever, but it works fine. Now, the thing about turbocharged motors that you have to remember and keep in mind is that the turbochargers get extremely hot. So this turbocharger in this car is cooled with air, coolant, and oil. So, well, the oil actually lubricates it, and the coolant brings the temperature down, and the air brings the temperature down. So you don't want your turbocharger overheating, because that will in turn break down the oil because of the high temperatures. Now, I'm not 100% sure what temperature a turbocharger will get, but this turbocharger works off of compressed exhaust air off the exhaust manifold. So let's say, for instance, that the motor normally runs at 200 degrees and the oil is normally somewhere between 200 and 230. Well, that turbocharger, when it's under a load or under pressure, which is normally when you're accelerating or going uphill, it has its hardest use. That turbocharger is building up pressure and heat, and using that exhaust air, it may heat up to in excess of 350 degrees. So because it's getting so hot, it needs to keep the oil going through it, it needs to keep the coolant going through it, and the air. So all of these things that service this turbocharger needs to be in good working order. Now, some people think, hey, if I got a turbocharger, that's more work that I have to do to the car and more upkeep. Well, sometimes having a turbocharger does require more frequent oil changes. For instance, this motor is required to have oil changes every 5,000 miles. The non-turbocharged version of the same motor recommends oil changes 7,500 or 10,000 miles. So yes, a turbocharged car does need more maintenance in terms of oil usage. Now, the thing about it is, this car has in excess of 230,000 miles on it, and I don't think that it has ever had a turbocharger rebuilt or any maintenance done on it. Reason being, the owners of the car has kept the oil change on a normal basis. Now, I'm going to get into the oil changes here in a minute. Listen close. My recommendation when you have a car that has a turbocharger on it is to only use full synthetic oils. Regular oils, dyno oils, they have a different refining process than full synthetic oils. Full synthetic oils, they perform better in cold temperatures, perform better in extreme warm temperatures, so they're better to extend the life of your turbocharger. So a turbocharger can last in excess of 100,000 miles if it's a good turbocharger and you take care of it right. Now here's the final and most important key in taking care of a turbocharged car. Okay, since we now know that turbochargers can get extremely hot and they need the oil to lubricate them so that they can function well, the key to caring for a car with a turbocharger is twofold. Number one, always let the car warm up to its highest normal temperature range before you go gunning it, giving it a heavy load, or racing it around town. So until your car temperature warms up, don't drive hard on a turbocharged car. Number two, since a turbocharger can get really hot, it needs circulation to cool down. So your last mile or two of driving your turbocharged car, or your last 2 or 3 minutes of driving that turbocharged car, do not drive that turbocharged car hard. They call that turbo boosting. So if you're racing around town in a hurry, putting a heavy load on the motor, giving it a lot of aggressive acceleration, your last couple minutes, calm down and drive like an old lady. Or when you pull into your parking spot to stop, let that car idle for 2 or 3 minutes before you turn it off. That will allow the oil to circulate through that turbocharger and the rest of the cooling system to cool that turbocharger down so that it doesn't have what they call thermal cooking. If you're racing around town and working that turbocharger really hard and you swing into a parking spot, you stop, turn the key off, put the car in park, that turbocharger may be 300 or 400 degrees. Well, that oil that's trapped in there is no longer going to circulate. So now that turbocharger may continue to heat up to 400, 500, 600 degrees because it wasn't properly cooled down. Well, that will cook that oil in that turbocharger, cause it to break down and gum up or sludge up inside that turbocharger. Well, you do that day after day, month after month, year after year, and before you know it, you're going to have a turbocharger that's going out in 50,000 miles or 70,000 miles. Whereas if you let that thing warm up properly and cool down properly, it can last 200,000-300,000 miles easy. So the number 3 thing that you do is your oil changes as scheduled. So number 1, don't do heavy loads before the car warms up. Number 2, allow the car to cool down and the turbocharger to cool down before you shut it off. And number 3, do your oil changes as recommended. If you got any questions, go ahead and post them. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.